This is a new day. This is a new day full of sound and light and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. This day has been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you. This day has been waiting with open arms just for you. This is the day we have been given. Let's not waste it. Come now, and let us worship together. And please rise. Embody your spirit for our first hymn. I've got Peace Like a River in the gray hymnal, good old 100.
I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. Oh, I got pain like an arrow, I got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I got tears like raindrops, I got tears like raindrops, I got tears like raindrops in my soul. I got tears like raindrops, I got tears like raindrops, got tears like raindrops in my soul. I got strength like a mountain, I got strength like a mountain, I got strength like a mountain in my soul. I got strength like a mountain, I got strength like a mountain, I got strength like a mountain in my soul.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Michael Conder, and I'm glad to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Youngstown, UUYO for short. We have a cool nickname. We have a few announcements this morning. First, foreign policy discussion will be after service today at 12:30 in Schweitzer's Lounge. And second, meditation tonight will be at 7 p.m., and you can join us on Zoom for that. And now I'd like to invite Riz Rayleigh to the lectern for the chalice lighting.
Good morning. Good morning. I thought of a million ways to write this on the drive this morning. Mom read to me thoughts and teachings on center. Driving down the highway felt like a ship unmoored in the middle of the sea amidst the pouring rain. My thoughts circled and swarmed like a hurricane. What does center mean to me? Nothing. Everybody go home. I'm kidding, of course. But while I was thinking about it, I encourage you to take a few deep breaths with me, thinking about center as we breathe in, releasing scattered thoughts and feelings as we breathe out. One more. What centers you? What brings you to UUYO? And that's enough deep breathing. Center to me is the eye of the storm. It's the calm and the crazy. It's who I am and who we are when we're at our best, truest self. It's my cat purring in my lap when we watch Bob's Burgers before bed. It's dinner and long drives with my parents. It's an afternoon of silent reading with my grandmother and log splitting with my grandfather. Center is being in this community, in this space, in this moment and every moment to follow. We light this chalice in honor of what centers us. We light this chalice in honor of everyone who centers us.
Everybody, this is Logan. So today in the service, hold on. Today in the service, they're going to be talking about the prayer shawl. And the prayer shawl is something that the Jewish people use to cover themselves up and shut out the outside world so that they can find their center. And to me, that means to be finding what is important in life. And what I think is important, what a lot of people think is important in life, is love. So today we're going to tell the story, what is love? And if you want to find out more about what love is, tune in next week for Reverend Joseph's service. This is What is Love by Mac Barnett, illustrated by Carson Ellis. Okay, so you're going to turn the pages for me. Remember how you did it last week when you helped, when you practiced? You practiced? Hold on. Okay, I'm going to put it on the first page. Okay, here's the first page. Now you're going to help me. Come over here. When I was a boy in the garden out front of the house, you're just going to turn the pages, okay? Where we lived, I asked my grandmother, what is love? My grandmother was old. I thought she would know. Okay, turn the page for me. There you go. She picked me up in her arms and said, I can't answer that. Who can? I asked. If you go out into the world, you might find an answer. Turn the page. Turn the page. Here we go. So I went. This is a hard one. Hold on. Okay, turn the page. I asked the fisherman, what is love? The fisherman smiled. Love is a fish. A fish, I said. Turn the page. Turn the page. Good job, good job. Just one. Just one. Hold on. There you go. It glimmers and splashes just out of reach, and the day that you catch it, if you know what you're doing, you give it a kiss and throw it back in the sea. But I don't like fish, I said. They're slimy and taste bad, and they have creepy eyes. The fisherman sighed. You don't understand. Turn the page. I asked the actor, what is love? The actor smiled. Love is applause. Applause? It's the hoots of the crowd, the sound of their hands. You stand in the footlight while they all scream your name. Sometimes they throw flowers, and that moment you know you exist. You are seen. But the crowd leaves, I said. They go home. The actor sighed. You do not understand. Turn the page. I'll let you look in the book later. I asked the cat, what is love? The cat smiled. Love is the night. The night, I said. Well, that sounded all right. Turn the page. Turn the page. But before the cat could explain, a dog chased it away. Wait, I said, stop. What is love? The dog looked back and said, this. Okay, turn the page for me. There you go. I asked the carpenter, what is love? Love is a house. A house? You hammer and saw and arrange all the planks. It wobbles and creaks and you alter your plans. But in the end, the thing stands and you live in it. Turn the page. I said, I'm not allowed to use hammers. Once I busted my thumb. I don't mean a real hammer. I'm not talking about thumbs. It got busted real bad. The carpenter sighed. You do not understand. One more. Come on, turn the page. Just one, just one, just one. There we go. The farmer told me love is a seed. The soldier told me love is a blade. The soldier told me love is a horse. But the cart driver said, no, it's a donkey. Turn the page. There we go. A sports car, a donut, a lizard, a ring, the first snow of winter, a maple in summer, a grizzly bear, this pebble right here. These are all things people told me love is. Turn the page. I asked the poet, what is love? The poet smiled. Sit down and I'll tell you, he said. A list so long it goes on for pages. I didn't have time to listen to that. Turn the page. Wait, said the poet. I have not answered your question. You sure haven't, I said. The poet shouted at me. You do not understand. Turn the page. And so one day, I returned to the house where we lived. Turn the page. The lights were all on. I smelled dinner cooking. My dog barked gladly at me from a window upstairs. I took off my shoes and I stood in the garden. I curled my toes so they dug into the dirt. I sighed. I didn't hear my grandmother come up from behind me. Finally, she said, you have come back. She was older. I was taller. She asked me, did you answer your question? I picked her up in my arms. I smiled. I said, yes. The end. Thank you so much. Let's go to class now, okay?
As all under 18 go with Kathleen, let's all recite our covenant, which is found in your order of service. It begins with, love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our church is completely supported by pledge income from members and friends like you. If you wish to make an offering to us, please designate on your check or envelope, it is for UUYO. Each month, we donate all loose cash and unmarked checks put in the offering plate to a nonprofit organization whose missions and actions are consistent with the UU principles and the mission of UUYO. Our giveaway the plate recipient for January is the Bummer Fund. Our seventh principle calls on us to respect the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part, including nurturing and supporting non-human beings. For January, we honor this commitment by supporting an organization that was founded to promote responsible pet ownership and assist pet owners care for their beloved companions. This fund assists those who have a record of providing a good home for a pet, but whose current incomes do not permit some necessary medical care for an existing pet. We will now receive the offering that supports the life of Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, and our wider world.
Please join me in a time of meditation. During our meditation, I would like to hold the family of Tyree Nichols, who was killed and died on January 10th after being beaten by 5 police officers in Memphis during a traffic stop. Let us hold Tyree Nichols' family.
Our reading today is At Last the New Arriving by Gabrielle Calvo-Caresi. Like the horn you played in Catholic school, the city will open its mouth and cry out, "Don't worry about nothing. Don't mean no thing." It will leave you stunned as a fighter with his eyes swelled shut who's told he won the whole damn purse. It will feel better than any floor that's risen up to meet you. It will rise like Easter bread, golden and familiar in your grandmother's hands. She'll come back, heaven having been too far away from home to hold her. Oh, it will be beautiful. Every girl will ask you to dance, and the boys won't kill you for it. Shake your head. Dance until your bones clatter. What a prize you are. What a lucky sack of stars.
I don't know if you can hear me, or if you're even there. I don't know if you would listen to a gypsy's prayer. Yes, I know I'm just an outcast. I shouldn't speak to you. Still I see your face and wonder, were you once an outcast too? God help the outcasts, hungry from birth. Show them the mercy they don't find on earth. God help my people, they look to you still. God help the outcasts, or nobody will. Some ask for wealth, some ask for fame, some ask for glory to shine on their name. Some ask for love they can possess. I ask for God and His angels to bless me. I ask for nothing, I can get by, but I know so many less lucky than I. Please help my people, the poor and downtrodden. I thought we all were the children of God. God help the outcasts, children of God.
I heard this story from a colleague, Reverend Susan Ritchie, and if I have misremembered, it is all my fault, not hers. This is what I remember. In the mid-20th century, Universalists met at their national convention and ended up talking with each other into the late night and early morning, debating about a very specific topic. The topic: if extraterrestrials came down from outer space onto Earth, would we concede that universal salvation would be offered to all living creatures across the galaxy, or just those on Earth? That's the story. The story goes that this topic sparked the longest debate in recent Universalist memory. If a life form on the fringes of the universe came to us saying, "Hi guys, I'm here," and we had no idea of their existence up to that point, would we include them in our belief system? After much debate, the consensus, because Universalists were big on consensus, not on majority rule, was that, yes, at the end of the day, we would like to officially say, if aliens came down to Earth from another planet, we would welcome them into our view that all of us are saved, even those we have no awareness of right now. Why the debate, you think? Why the long hours of debate about this? I don't know, but I have my theories. It doesn't take much nowadays to wonder at the complexity of letting others into our worldview, letting those who are different, letting those who maybe we have little contact with or even little awareness of into our literal good graces. It seems challenging enough to show respect and affection for people who seem somewhat similar to us, either in view or in appearance. And right now we are wondering aloud, through our actions, if we could even welcome our next door neighbor into our good graces, let alone those who may live on the fringes of the universe in far-off planets and galaxies. But I think planets and galaxies are states of mind. And I want you to check me on this. This is what I think, but I want you to check me. That we can live next door to, even live under the same roof with, just talk with people who are related to us in the same house, and we might as well be living on other planets from each other. I live on Mars, and you, even though I can see you, live on Jupiter. And perhaps, I don't know, Min Rayleigh is a sun who tries to warm all the planets it can. Perhaps we visit each other on their own turf, in their own terrain, and marvel at the stark heat or cold or environment they think and live in. I think the Universalists spent hours in debate because it's scary to open the tent, especially to the unknown. It's scary to realize the view and experience that has come to shape our world, our universe, is just a view, is just an experience. To realize this world is just a world among other worlds, and yet we share it, even though we can barely acknowledge each other as citizens of the same place. For many Americans, you can be uncertain if you'll even want to spend more than an hour with someone who lives within the same zip code, the same city, the same workplace. It would be utopia to even imagine one block in this whole city that got along and genuinely liked each other. It does happen, I know. And when it does happen, you know what we say? Wow, how remarkable is that? What a nice thing, not a given, to genuinely like your neighbors. Last week we sang Kumbaya in service. Some of you were there. And it really moved me in a way I didn't expect. As soon as, of course, the hymn was announced, I could hear my inner critic parroting comments of things I've heard. This is not some sit around the fire kumbaya moment. Kumbaya is not good foreign policy. Or, this won't be fixed with a kind of kumbaya sing-along. No. We've grown too sophisticated to think we could ever really come together. And in actually looking at the hymn and being with you all, it got me curious about the origin of the hymn. It's much debated, but it seems to originate from a couple different places. One is from the Gullah people, who originally came from the Congo region of Africa. They worked plantations as slaves in the southeast part of the United States and kept their distinctive culture to this day, a language and dialect that is utterly unique, a way of approaching English that is utterly unique. Kumbaya has been translated as come by here, as in Kumbaya, my Lord, come by here, my Lord. On the fringes of our society, please come here and show us your mercy. Of course, this song gained popularity during the folk music revival and movements of justice, and it was sung without contempt or derision. It was sincere. On those who are oppressed, please come here. In the presence of our bodies, your bodies, the bodies of our parents, the bodies of our grandparents, showing up as witnesses to that possibility that, yes, even on the fringes, mercy and justice will come. But then over the years, we got a little bit more reasonable. The numbers of those on the fringes increased, and the show of support dwindled, and we contented ourselves with making fun of our own ideals in the name of real-world solutions. Real world, which we say and believe without irony. Except now, I think we are at an exciting moment in our history when our assumptions of the world are being tested daily, when the world is opening up in front of us in sometimes scary, sometimes remarkable ways, we witness the curtain parting. And we witness what we thought was the world was just a beautiful set of embroidered curtains. And behind those curtains, another world. Part of our world, except we didn't know it. The curtains have been embroidered by those who came before us, who attempted to teach us what the world is, what the limits and contours of the world are, and where we might fit in it. Some of those stitches are done with a loving and caring hand, some in a fury. And we don't need to go far to meet this curtain. We don't even need to travel out of the city. When I was living in New York, I was constantly looking for a way to make a little extra money to pay rent and once in a while buy Chinese food. And I saw a notice on Craigslist. You remember Craigslist? Yeah, well, that's where I was looking for a job. And the notice was for a brand ambassador for T-Mobile. Ambassador. That word caught me. What does an ambassador do? An ambassador goes to another world of sorts, another country, another territory, another culture, and represents where they came from and what they hope to impart. It's pretty colonial, actually. But nonetheless, I read on. They were looking for someone who would represent the brand of T-Mobile and go to Borough Park, a historically Hasidic Jewish part of Brooklyn, and share with them the good news of T-Mobile. And how would this be done, you might ask? And this is going to make me sound very turn of the century. Flyers. Paper flyers. They would hire someone to go from business to business, street by street, and give them a flyer. This was the great work of the ambassador. It would be schlepping, basically, spending time in a neighborhood which I had never been to before, which actually sounded okay to me, something I got pretty good at that. It was late January, about this time of year, and we had already had many inches of snow that would turn brown and yellow, and then coated with a new layer of fresh snow before it too would become brown and yellow. It was a nice layer cake, January. And I had a sense that most sane people would not apply for this job. And I was right. I submitted, and they didn't even interview me. They told me which T-Mobile store in Borough Park to go to, where I would fill out a W-4, and they would give me flyers. I lived in Brooklyn at the time. I lived in the same borough, and yet I had never been to Borough Park. I put on my heaviest coat, and I took the subway. It took less than a half hour. When I got out at Borough Park, I saw something I had never seen before in my life. Small, thin, what I thought were pieces of thread hanging from some people's clothing. And at first glance, I thought perhaps their jacket or shirt was coming apart. But then I thought, how odd would it be for all these people to be experiencing the exact same thing at that moment. I'm pretty bright, see? It must have been deliberate. So I looked a little closer without trying not to be rude. And I saw some of the pieces of the fabric were knotted. Some looked braided. A few of them were even dyed different colors. I had a friend who was a conservative Jew, and we would meet for kosher pizza. He had a great place. And I asked him what they were. He said those are called tzitzit in Hebrew. And they are a visual reminder to keep God's commandments. It's common practice to wear them 2 in the front and 2 in the back as reminders to yourself and to others to never forget the commandments. It's commanded explicitly to wear them on the fringe of your garments, on the fringe. It's a small thing, but it had large repercussions. At the time, I had no idea or, frankly, a desire for religion, and I was not a practicing Jew. But the image has continued to work on me and stay with me. I kept thinking of what we wear on the fringes of our lives. For most of us, nothing in terms of clothing. Maybe we buy a shirt or a pair of pants. Maybe a few of us make clothing to wear. But the end of the garment is the end of the garment. It ends at the hem. Some of us wear it off the rack. I certainly do, and I think nothing of it. Or maybe we become curious about where the garment comes from, who made it, and what the conditions were of it being made. But whatever it is, we wear it as it is. A seed that was planted that day when I saw the tzitzit, these small fringes, taught me something that I had no way to understand or articulate on that very day. If someone asked me today why I hang out at a church, why I care about the spiritual life, I might say, given the context of this sermon, that I don't want to just take the world off the rack and wear it. I don't want to accept what society, culture, my own upbringing, even my own cherished opinions are, and just wear them as is without question. I want to take what I've been given and I want to build on it. I want to add my own vision, my own version of what I think is most important to remember. In the same conversation, my friend who described the tzitzit shared with me a rabbinic story. You might have heard this one, but it was the first time I ever heard it. He said, "It was told that it is important to keep one note in your left pocket and one in your right. In your left pocket, you should keep the note, 'This world was created for you.' This world was created for you. And in the right pocket, you keep the note, 'You are nothing but dust and ashes.'" 2 notes. He didn't say this, but I thought I witnessed it. For me, the garments we wear are dust and ashes. Even the fabric of the tzitzit are dust and ashes eventually. Everything we wear, our opinions, our view of the world, even and especially our bodies, all dust and ashes. Part of the earth, part of the underworld, part of the cloudy sky, part of the sidewalk, No way getting around that. And that reminder is usually a bummer to folks. But there's another side to it. We are not in a separate world. We are part of this one. And the lines between you and me and the earth, those are just ideas. That's separation. I'm dust and ashes, and you are dust and ashes, and we are supported by, you guessed it, dust and ashes. But the other pocket. This world was created for you. In your trial and tribulation, this world in all its beauty and heartbreak was created especially for you as ambassadors. Maybe for T-Mobile, but also something else. Reminders that perhaps the answers to our prayers, to our hopes, are right beside us. Kumbaya, my Lord. And we come, sometimes not knowing where we go, and sometimes barely registering that we are even moving at all. Sometimes barely aware that we have all these flood of witnesses with us. We come to our living room. We come to our computers. We come to our cars. We come to a place like this, and we don't even know why, but we do it. Kumbaya. Each of us has our own fringe, our own tattered edges, and we live in a city, definitely, with its fringes, with its own tattered edges. And I think sometimes it's good to take that edge off, even for a passing moment. Add something to the edge. A hope, a prayer, a loving action. Our edges become a bridge, embroidered with a caring hand, with the intention of not creating a world, but opening a world. A world that was created for you. To do what? Exciting question, right? To open yourself to it. To let the sun shine, even through the clouds, on your face. To not lose sight of the commandment to love one another in a spirit of service and peace. To touch the curtain of the world and not yank it down violently, but gently let it part. To show us our neighbor, our family, another beautiful extraterrestrial. Please pray with me. Spirit of love, I'm so grateful for this day. So grateful for all these people who've come from their homes and all those who are watching us on Zoom and Facebook. Thank you for a reminder of all the ways we are connected to each other. Please help us to treasure that connection and to build off it, to say hello to each other and try to mean it. Thank you for the opportunity to be alive, to feel that this world was created for all of us. All this we pray. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our second hymn. It is also in the gray hymnal. 108, My Life Flows On, an Endless Song.
My life flows on in endless song of lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth, it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we meet again.
As you depart, please remember the one great fact. I see you back there, Dirk. You are loved and never truly alone.